With Chris Harrison stepping aside, Bachelor Nation wants to know who his replacement will be. We have all the details on the top 3 contenders. Hey guys, welcome back to another shared news from home. We have the latest updates on the Chris Harrison situation. But before we get into it, if you're new here, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell so you don't miss out on any future videos. As always, I'm your host, Fiona Zaring, and I'm joined by the wonderful Mariah Davis. Mariah, there is a lot going on in Bachelor Nation right now. I say we just dive right in. Since Chris announced he'd be stepping away from his hosting duties for the remainder of Matt James's season, fans have been trying to figure out who is going to be stepping into his shoes and for how long. Sources told The Hollywood Reporter that ABC and Warner Brothers are reacting in real time to the unfolding situation, but are aware of looming deadlines and are said to be firming up some plans in the coming days. After the final rose is set to air in just 1 month, which of course means filling Chris's position has got to be a top priority for producers. We're on a tight deadline. Plus, once the host is chosen, they're going to have to figure out like the questions, the rundown for the show. So I have to imagine we're probably going to get an answer fairly soon. At this point, it looks like the top 3 contenders to replace Chris appear to be Rachel Lindsay, Tayshia Adams, and Jojo Fletcher. Viewers are really hoping that it will either be Rachel or Tayshia because they will be able to have an authentic conversation with Matt and Rachel about all of the controversy that has unfolded. And obviously, seeing as it looks like Rachel might be our winner, this is a conversation that the audience really, really wants to see. Rachel and Tayshia are also both currently under contract with the franchise because Rachel Lindsay has her Bachelor Nation podcast and Tayshia is obviously under contract as our current Bachelorette. So it seems like one of them could maybe easily step into the role. Jojo, on the other hand, has actually already stepped in and hosted on Chris's behalf in the past. She stepped in when he took his son to college, filled the role a little bit during Tayshia's season, and fans really did love how she conducted herself, how those episodes played out. So she's someone that we've seen step into this duty before, so perhaps the franchise would want to tap her again as well. Mariah, I'm just curious, who do you want to step into this role? Is it one of the 3 of them? Is it somebody completely different? Who are you hoping to see?
Honestly, I think we couldn't go wrong with either one of them. They're all worthy, they're all super engaging, and they all have left such a nice legacy through the Bachelor franchise. So we really couldn't go wrong either way. I didn't personally watch JoJo when she filled in, so I don't know what it was like then, but I have always been a big fan. I really like her. But I agree. I think it would be really nice to see Tayshia or Rachel take over in this position. If Rachel showed us anything during her interview with Chris Harrison, it was how graceful and eloquently she handled that situation. She was just able to stay true to her position. And she didn't, even though she had every right to like just lay it on him. And I almost wish she would have. She just kept it business as usual. So I feel like Rachel would be an excellent person to fill in for that role, but also so could Tayshia. So either way, I don't think we're going to go wrong. If we do get fortunate enough to have any one of those ladies fill in that position, I'm excited to see whoever they end up going with.
I totally agree. Rachel Lindsay was actually just asked by E! News how she'd feel about stepping into this role, and she said, honestly, I'm not even thinking about that. I think the bigger picture is there is an issue, and Chris is recognizing it, other people are recognizing it, and I think if my message is to really make change and really create a level of awareness, then I can't be focused on trying to take somebody else's job. I am just focused on really us getting to a place of unity where we can all be better. She continued to basically say, nobody knows what's going to happen next. I think this was a very diplomatic statement. There has been so much rallying behind Rachel within Bachelor Nation right now. She says she's been very touched, very humbled by it. I wasn't expecting her to say anything, too direct about this, but she didn't say no. So definitely seems like she was playing it diplomatic and potentially she would be willing to step into the role. Just didn't want to say anything quite yet. What are your thoughts on that statement?
I see exactly where she's coming from with not stating, "Oh, yeah, I'd love to do that." But more so, I don't want the message to get mistranslated or for anyone not to see what the purpose of all of this is. She doesn't want the importance of the message to possibly get lost in translation if she were to fill Chris's role. So she's not even thinking about that right now. And there's no doubt how great she would be. She shows us every time on Extra, and anytime she's made a surprise visit on The Bachelor or Bachelorette, she's very engaging. And I could see her having a huge positive influence on the franchise. But I admire her for right now just focusing on the importance of the message. I think that continues to say so much about her character and her passion to really creating change. But also, Rachel, if you're listening, you could be the change that the franchise needs. So just food for thought.
I love it. She also gave her opinion on Chris's decision to step aside. And she said he's apologized not once, not twice. He seems to be taking steps that are necessary to really learn from this whole experience. She added that she's happy for this level of awareness and to sit and see what happens next. She also said that, he has admitted that the way the interview went, to use his own words, perpetuated racism. So the fact that Chris is aware that things went wrong in the interview and is willing to grow from it seems to really be important to Rachel. We talked about on her podcast episode that aired after the interview, she wasn't fully pleased with Chris's apology. She had a lot of questions still. She clearly was, rightfully so, still very upset. So this is a little bit of a change in tone. Now that Chris has stepped aside, it seems like she said it in her podcast. It's all about action, and we're seeing him take action. So, what are your thoughts on this, Mariah?
Yeah, I had the exact same thoughts with her not being pleased with his apology, kind of thinking, the timing was odd. You were so passionately speaking on this, like you were speaking your truth, which is what she said. And then the next day, you're backtracking and you're super apologetic. It does kind of, at that point, it didn't really seem like it added up and it wasn't as genuine. But I agree, actions mean so much more than words. And we're starting to see those actions through Chris. He clearly is very remorse for everything that he said, and he doesn't want to offend anybody any further. I think it looks like he's really just trying to focus on educating himself and being a better example. So I really appreciate that. I also like that Rachel she's acknowledged that it's already having an effect. They've had a close friendship since she first appeared on The Bachelor. So I would hate to see that friendship completely destroyed. I hope that in some way they can kind of build a bridge after some time and everybody heals a little bit from the things that were said. So I think it's interesting to see that he's already kind of staying true to his apology and letting his actions reflect his words.
I totally agree. Now, the question I think I have at this point, and we don't have a real answer to it, but will Chris be back by The Bachelorette? ABC has left it open-ended. Chris has left it open-ended. We know he doesn't want to, cloud the remainder of what was supposed to be a historic, change with Matt James's season with his own controversy any longer. But what happens after Matt's season ends? Is he going to step right back in for The Bachelorette? Do we think we could see sort of a revolving door of Bachelor Nation favorites taking over for some time as they kind of rework things and refigure things out in the franchise? What do you think these next few months, this next season is going to look like?
So it's definitely sad to say it would be, I think, the end of an era for Chris Harrison. He started out with The Bachelor from day one, and he has been kind of a highlight of the series thus far. So I think that's why it's been such a tragedy to just hear him say those just thoughtless words. I'm glad that he is trying to make amends and doing the necessary things he needs to make that better and correct that wrong. But I worry that this might be the end for Chris Harrison and the Bachelor franchise. Something I was talking about with somebody earlier, he's had a good run. Of course, this isn't the way anybody would want to go out, but he doesn't necessarily have a reason to return, I would assume. He's had an excellent career, and let's just leave it at that. I think there's nothing wrong with change. In fact, I encourage change. I think it's a great thing to see things evolve. So this could be a perfect opportunity to take the Bachelor franchise to the next level. Perhaps we have a female host from now on. Maybe they recycle some past Bachelor alums. The Bachelor in Paradise is going to be coming up sooner than we know it. So I'm just going to throw this out there. I would love to see Wells Adams maybe step into that role. I would love to see a female kind of start running the show, but he has been a favorite of mine, especially during Bachelor in Paradise. So whatever they choose, I think we can all agree they're going to have to make these decisions sooner rather than later. And I'm excited to see ultimately who they end up going with.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting because when you think The Bachelor, you think Chris Harrison. I mean, he has hosted every single spinoff special. You
Yeah.
know, he is sort of one in the show. And of course, he doesn't just host, he is involved in the production. So he's such an integral character just in the franchise. But the franchise has created so many talented hosts. I mean, I think Ali
Hmm.
Fedotowsky hosted E! News for a while. We have Rachel on Extra. Wells has stepped into all these different roles. So there are multiple people that I feel like could very easily step into this role. He could pass the torch to people that the franchise already knows, already loves, and always wants to see more of. So it'll be
Yeah.
very interesting to see, is this a short term break where he, takes some time away? Maybe they rework the structure of the show a little bit. Maybe they add a co-host, they just restructure things
Mm.
but bring Chris back. Or like you said, Mariah, is this really truly the end of an era? Because an apology is great, taking action is great, but this was a big deal and people are calling for very serious change, as they should. So we'll
Hmm.
see what that change actually ends up looking like. You guys, we want to know your thoughts. Are you hoping to see Chris return to his hosting duties after some time away? Or do you think that the moment has come for some true changes, some real shakeups in the Bachelor franchise? Let us know down in the comments. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell so you don't miss out on any future videos. As always, I'm your host, Fiona Zaring. I was joined by the wonderful Mariah Davis. If you want to come say hi, our social handles are on the screen right now. Thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.